I just saw a video on YouTube that popped up. It was by Vladimir Putin, and it was his advice on success, and he said, just do it. And of course, that is great advice. And I just would like to tell him the dilemma that I'm in. I'm only he could believe this, because I'm sure he's encountered so many evil things in his life, and he's had to combat so many challenges. It's hard to know where to begin, but I know he's got a good heart and he's a good judge of character, and I'm being totally honest, and I know he will believe me. Now that Donald Trump is in office, I feel a little bit of power to be able to express my opinion. And I also feel power that I can tell this story that I couldn't before, because I was being enslaved by military soldiers in my town, and I was being tortured every day by weapons that people have never heard of, and suffering horrifically, so that I could give the people who enslaved me jollies, because they're Satanists and they had fun doing this to me because I was easy prey. This story of mine could fill a lot of different videos, so I'm just going to try to shorten it, okay? I am a very ambitious person now, after I've been through so much, and because I met some famous writers who kept stealing from me year after year, and after 6 conferences, I got tired of being kind and sweet and giving away my stories for free. And that's how I met these dark people that started stealing everything. They started invading my home and my computers. They latched on to my stepkids. They sent me a picture of my stepdaughter Tava standing in front of President Obama's limousine. You would not believe how God fueled me to keep going. Anyone else, I think, would have perished the first year. I went to 6 conferences, but I've been fighting these people for 15 years, and I have been enslaved and degraded and robbed every day. Robbed spiritually, threatened, had my home broke into. If you could ever just look at evidence and look at how many times they invaded my home and sent me to the hospital and threatened me and stole my work, you would think it was all because of God's power and force that I continue to live, that I'm here today in one piece. While I'm shattered inside by their weapons, but I'm still in one piece. I can just say this is evil. I uncovered a cult that I think probably consists of government people, and they sent me an invitation after they saw my work at Random House publishing site. I was a wall flyer, and I put it out there. I should have known something was suspicious when they sent me that song, Somebody's Watching Me. And then the horror writer whose the site was built around at Random House had a picture, came out with a book cover with him wearing a trench coat that matched the secret admirer invitation I had gotten with the song luring me to the conference. I should have known something. I should have known something 6 years later when I went on a cruise with these best-selling writers and with one of the writers of the Star Wars trilogy, and they said, Sherry, special. Something strange was going on, but I had no idea. But I saw these people meeting to conspire to take down the world. I saw these famous writers online talking. They didn't try to hide it. One of the writers just used his name, and he was talking with skulls, and they were talking about reforming the world to make everyone work, and people would post pictures of people being hanged, people drowning, and they would talk about how they were getting together in politics to try to get President Obama elected. Well, there was a very famous actor at the time who took an interest in my work through the horror writer, and he put it in a movie. And I got a lawyer in LA, and I asked my lawyer, Stephen Lowe, to please contact Warner Brothers and ask how this actor got my work. Well, lo and behold, the actor, the famous actor, started talking to me instant message. And then he sent me an invite on MySpace. Well, I didn't want to believe it was him, so I deleted him. I just said, "How did you get my work, The Godsend?" And he said he'd have to ask his female assistant, and he'd get back with me. I said, "Well, I don't really believe you're this person, so I'm going to delete you. I think you're the horror writer, and you're still trying to steal material from me." Lo and behold, after I deleted him, the 2 songs that I had at MySpace, "Born Free" and "You're Just Too Good to Be True," were used in his movie, both of them. And the writer who had befriended me at the conference also used my idea to make Frankie Valli's life into a Broadway play. I think it was more than just timing. There are on hard drive. There's evidence of me sharing my friendship with Frankie Valli in the past and talking about how I'd given him an award for his years in show business and been invited by the city of Newark to give him an award from the city to make it official Frankie Valli Day holiday. And I had just mentioned how I had asked him a few times, could I do a book about his life and try to bring back old-fashioned love and romance like in the old days. And I was even on the New York News telling a younger generation when I was in my 20s how I didn't want to see young people use their virtue and follow in the footsteps of Madonna and Prince. And I said I wanted to see old-fashioned love and romance brought back through Frankie Valli's music so that people would value love more and reminisce about the good old days. I mean, I'm on the New York News saying this. I went out to eat with Frankie Valli and his family at a restaurant where he grew up as a kid. I remember people coming to the restaurant and telling me they really liked what I said on the news. I was a virtuous teen. I was growing around in my teens and trying to get people to stop all the profanity and the billboards that were going up to exploit young people and try to lead children into sex at a young age. And I was very active as a teen, and I used to write for my college newspaper, my high school newspaper, and I wanted to change the world, of course. So I thought Frankie Valli was a strong fighter, and I thought he was a good role model because he was a strong fighter. I even got invited to do his valet at the Louisville Palace, and I got to do a radio program to promote him before he came to town. That's how strong my faith was, and it was all centered around God and nothing else. And Frankie always said he was Catholic, and I remember one of the times I spoke with him, and he says, "Always keep your faith in God." But when I asked him, could I do his biography, because I wanted his life to be out there to impression young people, and he said, "I really have a lot of things from my past I want to keep hidden, but please don't ever get in the entertainment industry. I'll tell you what I tell my daughters. It's no place for a lady." And I didn't really quite know what he meant at the time. And I says, "Well, I just want to promote somebody I believe in, and I'd love to do your book because I want there to be more strong fighters out there for young kids, just like a lot of young people are at a young age. They want to change the world." Well, I was like that, and I was very naive. But it wasn't until I went to the Random House site and I posted my idea to help him make a comeback, did I start noticing I was being stalked and threatened. Well, the person who took an interest in me and started stealing from me when Bush was still in office, and having people attack me with these weapons, who's made a fortune through Warner Brothers and Sony and different companies and Lionsgate, he was sure to show me the 4th of July. Frankie Valli was performing at the White House, and he was always trying to rub his theft in my face. He got years and years off of me, a material, but he was such a good psychiatrist or whatever that he knew how to work me, push my buttons, degrade me, keep me enslaved for so many years through these armies and weapons that I was in my chair writing every day. I became withdrawn. I didn't take vacations with my husband. I knew my brain was being invaded. I'd look in the mirror. My temples every night would just start doing this, contracting. My head would burn. I would get blisters on top from whatever weapons he was using. He had me totally enslaved and traumatized and programmed. And now he says, if you look at my eyes, they no longer sparkle. I no longer smile. And he said he destroyed my soul. I said, "Why did you do this to me?" And he only revealed years later. He said, when he met me face to face, he thought I was beauty and innocence, too powerful to resist. I was 31 years old. And he said he wanted to destroy it. His mission is to destroy it. Sometimes he says, I should be gay. I should be a man. Other times he says, I should have a penis. He tells me the reason he's doing this also is I'm a Christian and he wants to destroy all Christians. But when Vladimir Putin comes out and tells people how to be successful, I would like to say to him, this person has destroyed my mind, my dreams, my passion, my dignity. And it wasn't until I saw you and Dmitry Medvedev shortly before the Olympics that I thought there was any hope left in the world. For the first time in my life, I had finally given up. I had used all my fire. I mean, I always had faith in God, but I couldn't go any further because this person had finally just did me in. And then after I saw you on a crusade to protect Christians like me against evil forces, and for you to ban a lot of negative programs that you didn't want children seeing, I thought, well, you might be the modern day St. Michael. And you and Dmitry lifted my spirit. And I'm trying to be successful in Kentucky, but how can I do it when they attack my body every day, all this week? A good proof is I went to a doctor named Melvin Lansky because this person tried to get me to commit suicide. I thought it was the same person later that tried to get Paris Jackson to, and I warned her. I told her that I was afraid they'd do that. They gang people. They call themselves the Pixie Army sometimes. But they were trying to get me to commit suicide. Because they had started off pretending to like me and like my work, and then when I trusted them and I kept writing for free, they said, "Oh, you silly little fool, we just led you to the edge of a cliff. We don't really like you. You're silly. We praised you, but we just want a material note." Now, they told me to take a fall and go over the edge, and then when I refused to kill myself, they said they'd have me eating out of garbage cans. So then I self-published a book and I sent it to the publisher, and the publisher never got it. So I sent it 2 other times. He never got it. Finally, I realized somebody was doing something. So I hired a detective in Florida. I gave him $200 to go hand deliver my book because I kept saving copies. And then it finally got through. But lo and behold, these people are so determined to destroy me after they got so much material off of me, and they used it through Warner Brothers, and Disney too, that they actually used the cover I personally designed. Even my friend's cross, that was her personal cross I put on the cover, they used it in a movie poster for a story called The Last Exorcism. And they said they're going to do to me what they did to the character in the story, and they are going to destroy my soul. Oh God, I have never made this a game, okay? But once these people developed a taste for my work, they became so spoiled and greedy that they think I'm an object. They hate me. One time they said I'm the queen, they admire me, but then they hate me because I have strength. I have strength. But when I got broken and they wanted me to kill myself, I was so devastated I couldn't function. I had to try to save my life. So I went to Melvin Lansky, a psychiatrist, and I talked to him 2 or 3 times a week for a year and a half because it took that much for me to get out of a depression they put me in. And at the end, he says, well, you don't need medication. You never need a medication. You were just beat down so bad. You had surrendered your power, all of your power. You didn't have any power left. He said, I just convinced you were a strong woman. You said, you were a strong woman all along, but you gave it all away to them. I gave it all away to predators. So they're doing the same thing to me now, but I think that someone is doing to Paris Jackson. When I made a recovery, it didn't take but a couple of weeks of these weapons turned on my brain that I was shattered again. They want broken people. They want weak people. They don't want me to have confidence. And you know what's so sad is that I was never an arrogant person, a selfish person, a petty person. But after hanging around with these horrible people that I put on a pedestal that I thought were classy, I learned to develop their bad traits. This monster said he's hoped to turn me into him. He thinks that any bad trait I have, he brags about himself and says he gave it to me. I was forced to see the dark side, but I never embraced it. I don't want to be like these people, but I just want people to understand. I have done things through God, and He has been my strength. But if it was not for God, I would not be alive today, and I still would like to achieve good things. But I don't have a chance here. These people have been given weapons to destroy me. They think I'm a slave. I have no hope here in the United States. I mean, is there any country in the world where I can go and work in peace and not be devoured?